The stars burned orange through the thick smoke that filled the bridge of the Phoenix Rising. Admiral Jack Morrison gripped the metal rail as another explosion rocked his ship. The lights flickered and went out for 3 seconds before the emergency power kicked in. "Sir, we've lost another destroyer," reported Lieutenant Karen Davis from her position at the communications panel. Her voice stayed steady, but Jack could see her hands shaking. "The Zephyrians just wiped out the entire Falcon squadron." Jack stared at the main screen. 30 human ships had entered this battle 2 hours ago. Now only 8 remained. The enemy fleet stretched across space like a wall of death. Hundreds of alien ships, each one twice the size of his largest battleship, moved forward with perfect coordination. "Admiral, incoming transmission from Captain Lisa Hayes on New Eden," Karen said. "Put her through." The screen flickered, then showed Captain Hayes standing in what looked like a burning city. Behind her, buildings collapsed as bright blue beams fell from the sky. People ran in all directions carrying children and whatever belongings they could grab. "Admiral Morrison, we're evacuating the last civilians now," Lisa shouted over the noise of explosions. "But they're targeting the evacuation ships. We've lost half our transport vessels." Jack watched as another building exploded in the background. A family with 3 young children ran past Lisa, terror clear on their faces. The smallest child, maybe 5 years old, clutched a torn stuffed animal. "How many people are still down there?" Jack asked. "About 50,000 civilians, sir. But the Zephyrians aren't waiting for us to get them out. They're bombing everything." The screen showed alien fighters diving down from orbit, their weapons turning entire city blocks into ash. Jack had seen this same scene play out on 17 other human colonies in the past month. The Zephyrians showed no mercy to anyone, not even children. "Do what you can, Captain. We'll hold them here as long as possible." Lisa nodded and cut the transmission. Jack turned back to his tactical officer. "Commander Ryan Foster, what's our status?" Ryan looked up from his displays. His face was pale and covered in sweat. "Not good, sir. Our weapons barely scratch their hull armor. And their new drones—" He paused and shook his head. "They adapt to everything we throw at them. Every time we use a weapon, within minutes their shields are immune to it." Jack had seen the reports. The Zephyrian biomechanical drones could analyze human technology and develop countermeasures almost instantly. Missiles became useless. Laser cannons lost all effectiveness. Even basic projectile weapons stopped working after a few shots. "Sir," called out Ensign Danny Clark from the sensor station. 3 more colonies just went dark, the Martian outposts, and they're all gone." Jack felt something cold settle in his stomach. Mars had been home to 12 million people. Now the sensors showed nothing but dead space where the red planet's orbital stations used to be. "Admiral, we're receiving a priority message from Earth Command," Karen announced, on screen. The image showed General Katie Stone in the Earth Defense Command Center. Behind her, dozens of officers worked frantically at their stations. "Warning." Lights flashed red throughout the room. "Jack, I need a full status report," Katie said without any greeting. "It's over, Katie," Jack replied quietly. "We can't stop them. They've got us completely outmatched. Their technology adapts faster than we can develop new weapons." Katie's face remained calm, but Jack could see the fear in her eyes. "What about the outer colonies?" "All gone. New Eden is falling now. We'll be lucky if we can save 10% of the civilians." "And your fleet?" Jack looked around his bridge. Every station showed damage reports. Red warning lights blinked constantly. "I've got 8 ships left out of 30. We're running low on ammunition and half our systems are failing." Katie was quiet for a moment. In the background, an officer approached her and whispered something. Her face went even paler. Jack, long-range sensors just detected the main Zephyrian fleet. They're 3 times larger than what you're facing now, and they're heading straight for Earth. Jack closed his eyes. He had known this moment would come, but hearing it still hit him like a physical blow. Earth, humanity's birth world, home to 8 billion people. All of them were going to die. "How long do we have?" he asked. 72 hours, maybe less. Across the bridge, Jack's crew had gone silent. Everyone had heard Katie's words. "Ensign, Clark, barely 22 years old, started crying quietly at his station. "Katie, I want you to understand something," Jack said slowly. "We've tried everything. Every weapon, every tactic, every strategy our best minds could develop. Nothing works against them. Their ships are too strong, their drones too smart, and they have no mercy." "I know, Jack. No, I don't think you do." Jack's voice grew harder. "I'm not just talking about a military defeat. I'm talking about the complete extinction of the human race. These aliens don't take prisoners. They don't want our planets or our resources, they just want us dead." The screen flickered as another blast hit the Phoenix Rising. When the image cleared, Katie was still there, but now alarms were sounding in the Earth Command Center too. "The Zephirian advanced scouts just entered the solar system," Katie said quietly. Jack nodded. "Then this is probably the last time we'll speak. I want you to know, we fought as hard as we could, but sometimes fighting hard isn't enough." "Jack, wait." "No, Katie, it's time to face the truth. All hope is lost. Tell Earth to prepare for the end." Jack cut the transmission and turned to address his crew. 28 brave men and women looked back at him. They all knew they were going to die. They all knew their families back on Earth were going to die too. "All right, people," Jack said. "We're going to keep fighting. Not because we can win, but because it's what humans do. We don't give up, even when everything is hopeless." Outside the ship, the Zephirian fleet moved closer. Their massive ships blocked out the stars, bringing darkness and death to everything they touched. Humanity's last stand was about to begin. Dr. Peter Kane wiped the sweat from his forehead as he scrolled through another 1,000-year-old file. The research vessel Discovery floated in space behind Earth's moon, hidden from the Zephirian advance scouts. Around him, data screens showed endless lists of ancient military records that had been buried and forgotten for centuries. "Doctor, you've been at this for 18 hours straight," said his assistant, Dr. Rachel Brooks. She set a cup of coffee next to his keyboard. "Maybe you should rest." "No time," Peter muttered, his eyes burning from staring at the screen. "General Stone gave us 48 hours to find something, anything that might help. We're down to 30 hours now." Rachel sat down at the workstation next to him. "Peter, we've been through every military database from the past 300 years. There's nothing here that Earth Command doesn't already know about." Peter stopped typing and looked at her. "That's the problem. We're looking in the wrong place. Everyone assumes our best weapons are our newest weapons. But what if that's backwards?" "What do you mean?" "Think about it. Humans have been fighting wars for thousands of years. We survived ice ages, plagues, predators, and each other. We didn't get to the top of the food chain by accident." Peter pulled up a new search screen. "What if our ancestors knew something about fighting that we forgot?" Rachel frowned. "You want to look at ancient history?" "Peter, we need advanced weapons, not stone axes and spears." "Maybe. Or maybe we need to understand what made humans such good fighters before we had advanced weapons." Peter typed in new search parameters, going back further in time than anyone had bothered to look in decades. The computer started pulling up files from the early days of space travel, then from the time before humans left Earth. "Look at this," Peter said, pointing at a file that appeared on screen. "Military Archive, classification level black, year 2087, Project Ghost Battalion." Rachel leaned closer. "I've never heard of that." Peter opened the file. Most of it was heavily redacted, with large sections blacked out. But what remained made both scientists stop breathing for a moment. "Enhanced human soldiers," Peter read, aloud. "Genetic memory activation, physical capabilities increased by 300%, tactical awareness beyond normal human parameters. Project terminated due to ethical concerns." "That's impossible," Rachel said. "We don't have that kind of technology now, let alone 300 years ago." Peter scrolled down through the file. "Look at this test data. Soldier designation Alpha 7. Completed obstacle course in 37 seconds. Previous record was 3 minutes. Soldier designation Beta 12 demonstrated ability to track multiple targets using primitive weapons with 98% accuracy." Rachel shook her head. "This has to be fake. Some kind of propaganda or experiment in misinformation." "Wait, there's more." Peter found another section. Enhancement process involves activation of dormant genetic sequences. Subjects gain access to ancestral combat instincts. Warning: procedure irreversible. Many subjects experience complete personality changes. The two scientists stared at the screen in silence. Around them, the Discovery's computers hummed quietly, processing data while their world faced extinction outside. Peter, even if this is real, it was 300 years ago. The technology would be gone by now. Peter continued reading. Says, here the project was shut down and all records were sealed. But look at this final entry. He highlighted a paragraph near the bottom. All equipment and remaining subjects transferred to Facility Omega, Antarctica. Facility sealed indefinitely. Rachel's eyes widened. Antarctica? That's still down there? According to this, yes. The facility was designed to preserve everything for future study, but the study never happened. Political pressure got the whole project buried and forgotten. Peter opened a new search window and started looking up Antarctica research stations. Most of the continent was still unexplored, covered in ice and too dangerous for regular expeditions. Here, he said, pointing at a map on screen. Research Station Beta 7 established 2087, abandoned 2089. Location classified. But look at these power consumption records. The station was supposed to be shut down, but it's still drawing power from the geothermal grid. Rachel stood up and paced around the small research area. Peter, this is crazy. You're talking about some kind of super soldier program that was supposedly shut down 300 years ago. I'm talking about humanity's last chance. Peter replied. Look, we know our current technology can't beat the Zephyrians. Their drones adapt to everything we have. But what if we could fight them with something they've never seen before? Something that's not technology at all, but part of human nature. Rachel stopped pacing. You really think this Ghost Battalion thing was real? Look at the test results, again. These soldiers weren't just stronger or faster. They fought using instincts that normal humans don't have access to. Like they remembered how to be predators instead of civilized people. Peter pulled up more files, going deeper into the archive. He found medical reports, psychological evaluations, and training records. Everything pointed to the same conclusion. Somehow the scientists of 3 centuries ago had found a way to unlock something primal in human genetics. Dr. Kane, Dr. Brooks, came a voice over the communication system. It was General Stone calling from Earth. Yes, General, Peter responded. The Zephyrian scouts have started attacking our outer defense platforms. We need whatever you found, and we need it now. Peter looked at Rachel. She was still skeptical, but he could see fear in her eyes too. Fear of dying, fear of watching humanity disappear forever. General, we may have found something, but it's not a weapon. It's hard to explain. Try me. There are records of an enhancement program from 300 years ago. It involved changing human soldiers at the genetic level, making them remember how to fight like our ancestors did before civilization. There was a long pause. And you think this program actually worked? The data suggests it did. And General, the facility where they did this work might still exist, in Antarctica. Another pause. That sounds like science fiction, Doctor. So did faster than light travel until we figured it out. General, we've tried everything else. Our ships can't win, our weapons can't penetrate their defenses, and our tactics are useless against their adaptive technology. Rachel stepped forward. General Stone, even if Dr. Kane is right, we're talking about a procedure that was banned for ethical reasons. The test subjects supposedly became different, not quite human anymore. Different how? Katie asked. Peter answered. According to the files, they became perfect hunters. No fear, no hesitation, and instincts that could track and kill anything that threatened them. They fought like humans did before we built cities and laws and civilization. The communication channel was quiet for almost a minute. Finally, Katie's voice came back. Dr. Kane, I'm sending a team to Antarctica. Find that facility. The ice drill broke through the final layer with a loud crack that echoed across the frozen wasteland. Colonel Amy White pulled off her thermal goggles and looked down into the dark hole they had just created. After 6 hours of digging through 300 years of accumulated ice, they had finally reached Facility Omega. "Sir, we're reading artificial atmosphere down there," reported Sergeant Danny Clark, checking his scanner. "Temperature is steady at 70 degrees. Power systems are still active." Amy nodded and activated her radio. "Dr. Kane, we found it. The facility is exactly where your record said it would be." Peter's voice crackled through the radio from the research ship orbiting overhead. "Any signs of the enhancement equipment? We haven't gone down yet, but the place is definitely still running." Amy looked around at her team. 8 soldiers and 2 scientists, all volunteers for what might be humanity's last desperate gamble. "We're going in now." The team rappelled down through the ice shaft into a metal corridor that looked like it had been built yesterday. Emergency. Lights flickered on automatically as they walked deeper into the facility. Their footsteps echoed off the walls, the only sound in a place that had been empty for 3 centuries. "This is incredible," whispered Dr. Brooks as she examined the walls. The preservation systems kept everything perfect. It's like stepping back in time. They reached a heavy steel door marked with symbols that Amy didn't recognize. Danny ran his scanner over it and shook his head. "It's locked, Colonel, but there's no electronic lock. Looks like some kind of biometric system." Amy placed her hand on a dark panel next to the door. Nothing happened for a moment, then suddenly the panel lit up with a soft blue glow. The massive door started to open with a low grinding sound. "How did that work?" asked Rachel. "Your DNA shouldn't be in a system from 300 years ago. Maybe it's programmed to recognize any human," Amy suggested. But something about the way the door had opened felt strange to her. Beyond the door lay a vast chamber filled with rows of cylindrical containers. Each container was about the size of a coffin and made of clear material that showed a human form floating inside. Tubes and wires connected each container to a central computer system that hummed quietly in the center of the room. "My God," Rachel breathed. "They're still alive." Amy approached the nearest container and looked at the man floating inside. He appeared to be in his 30s, muscular but not unusually so. What struck her was his face. Even unconscious, there was something predatory about his expression, like a sleeping wolf. Danny read the nameplate on the container. "Designation Alpha 9. Enhancement process completed. Status: stable hibernation." Amy counted the containers. There are 50 of them, 50 enhanced humans, preserved for 3 centuries. Rachel was studying the computer displays. "According to this, the facility has been maintaining them automatically. Their bodies are perfect. No aging, no deterioration. They could be awakened at any time." "Dr. Kane," Amy said into her radio, "we found them. 50 enhanced soldiers in some kind of suspended animation. They're still alive." Peter's excited voice came back immediately. "Colonel, this is amazing. Can you access the research data? We need to understand how the enhancement process works." Rachel was already at the main computer terminal, her fingers flying over the keyboard. "I'm pulling up the files now. Oh, wow. Peter, you need to see this." Amy looked over Rachel's shoulder at the screen. It showed complex genetic diagrams and brain scans that meant nothing to her, but Rachel's face had gone pale. "What is it?" Amy asked. "The enhancement process doesn't add anything to human DNA. It removes things. Genetic locks that evolution put in place to keep us civilized. According to this, every human has the potential for these abilities. We just can't access them normally." "You mean we all could be like them?" Danny asked, pointing at the sleeping soldiers. "Theoretically, yes, but look at these psychological profiles." Rachel scrolled through more data. The enhanced subjects lose most of their ability to feel fear or empathy. They become perfect hunters, but they're not really human anymore in the emotional sense. Amy felt a chill that had nothing to do with the Antarctic cold. "What kind of soldiers are we talking about here?" Rachel pulled up a video file from the archives. It showed one of the enhanced soldiers in a training exercise. The man moved through an obstacle course filled with targets and traps with fluid, animal-like grace. He used a simple knife to destroy targets that would have required Advanced weapons for a normal soldier. Watch his eyes, Rachel said quietly. Amy did. The soldier's eyes never showed doubt or hesitation. He killed the training targets with the same expression he might use to swat a fly. Cold, efficient, and completely without emotion. "Colonel White," came General Stone's voice over the radio. "What's your status down there?" Amy hesitated. Outside, the Zephyrian fleet was moving closer to Earth. Billions of people were going to die unless something stopped the aliens. But the solution in front of her came with a terrible price. "General, we found the enhancement technology. It's functional. But there are complications." "What kind of complications?" Amy looked at the sleeping soldiers, then at her own team. Danny Clark was young, barely 25, with a girlfriend back on Earth. If he volunteered for this process, he might save humanity, but he would stop being the person he was now. The enhancement works by removing human emotions like fear and empathy. The subjects become extremely effective soldiers, but they're not quite human anymore. There was a long silence. Finally, Katie's voice came back. "Colonel, how long would the process take?" Rachel checked the computer. "According to the files, 6 hours for full enhancement. But there are risks. Some subjects didn't survive the process." "What percentage survived?" 73%. Amy closed her eyes. "A 27% chance of death. And if you survived, you would become something that looked human but thought like a predator." "General," Amy said slowly, "I need to ask you something. If we do this, if we create more enhanced soldiers, can we guarantee they'll fight for humanity? These files suggest they might see all non-enhanced humans as weak prey. That's a risk. We'll have to take, Colonel. Earth Command estimates 8 hours before the main Zephyrian fleet reaches Earth. We're out of options." Amy looked at her team. They were all listening to the conversation, understanding what was being asked of them. Danny stepped forward. "Colonel, I'll do it. I volunteer for the enhancement." "Danny, you understand what this means? You might not survive. And if you do survive, you won't be the same person." Danny nodded. "Better than watching everyone I care about die because we couldn't stop the aliens." Amy felt pride and sadness at the same time. Danny was brave, probably too brave for his own good. But someone had to make the choice. "Dr. Brooks, can you operate the enhancement equipment?" Rachel studied the computer interface. "I think so. The system seems to be automated. It just needs someone to activate it." Amy made her decision. "Do it. Start with Sergeant Clark. And may God help us all." Danny Clark opened his eyes and the world looked different. Everything was sharper, clearer, and somehow more real than it had ever been before. He could hear the heartbeats of everyone in the room. He could smell their fear, their sweat, their individual sense as clearly as if they were written on signs. "Danny?" Colonel White's voice sounded strange to him now, too emotional, too soft. "How do you feel?" Danny sat up on the examination table and looked at his hands. They looked the same, but he could feel the strength in them. Raw power that hadn't been there 6 hours ago. More than that, he could sense the exact pressure needed to break bones, to tear flesh, to kill efficiently. "Different," he said, and his own voice surprised him. It was calmer, colder than before. "I feel like I've been asleep my whole life and just woke up." Dr. Brooks was watching him carefully, taking notes on her tablet. "Danny, I'm going to run some tests, simple things. Just tell me what you see." She held up a card with symbols on it, but Danny was already looking past it. Through the wall he could sense movement. His enhanced hearing picked up radio transmissions from the surface team. The Zephyrian advanced scouts had found their location. "We have company," Danny said, standing up smoothly. Every movement felt perfect now, efficient and deadly. 12 alien fighters approaching from the northwest. They'll be here in 4 minutes." Colonel White grabbed her radio. "Surface team report." "Colonel, we've got incoming hostiles. How did you know?" Danny was already moving toward the weapons locker. He pulled out a simple combat knife and a basic sidearm. The advanced weapons felt wrong to him somehow, too complicated. His enhanced instincts preferred simpler tools. "Danny, you just went," Through a major medical procedure, Dr. Brooks said. You shouldn't be fighting anyone. Danny looked at her and she stepped back involuntarily. His eyes had changed. They were still human, but there was something ancient and predatory in them now. Doctor, with respect, fighting is exactly what I was made for. The facility shook as the first Zephyrian energy blast hit the ice above them. Emergency alarms started, blaring, but Danny felt no fear. Instead, he felt something he had never experienced before. Pure, focused hunting instinct. Colonel, wake up the others, Danny said, pointing at the 50 sleeping enhanced soldiers. We're going to need them. Amy hesitated. Danny, we don't know if they'll follow orders. They've been asleep for 300 years. They'll follow me, Danny said with complete confidence. We're pack hunters now. The facility shook again, harder this time. Danny could hear the Zephyrian ground troops breaking through the ice shaft above. Their alien voices echoed down the corridors, speaking in clicking, chittering sounds that hurt normal human ears. Danny started the awakening process for the nearest soldier. The man's eyes opened and immediately found Danny's. Without words, they understood each other. The ancient soldier sat up, looked around and nodded once. Brother, the old soldier said simply. Brother, Danny replied. One by one, the other enhanced soldiers awakened. Each one looked at Danny and the first soldier, recognized them as pack leaders, and fell into formation. No explanations were needed. Their enhanced minds worked on a level beyond normal human communication. Colonel White watched in amazement and growing fear as 50 perfect killers prepared for battle using weapons that were 3 centuries old. They moved with absolute silence and coordination like wolves preparing to hunt. Danny, the Zephyrians have adaptive technology, Amy said. Their drones will counter anything you use against them. One of the ancient soldiers, his nameplate, reading Alpha 1, looked at her with something that might have been amusement. Adaptive technology works against technology. We are not technology. The facility shook violently as Zephyrian troops reached the main door. Danny could smell them now, alien scents that triggered deep primal responses in his enhanced brain. His body started producing adrenaline and other combat chemicals automatically. Dr. Brooks, Colonel White, get to the emergency shelter, Danny ordered. What happens next isn't for civilians to see. The main door exploded inward, and 6 Zephyrian soldiers entered. They were tall, insect-like creatures wearing advanced armor and carrying energy weapons that could vaporize a normal human instantly. The aliens stopped when they saw the enhanced humans. For a moment, both groups stared at each other across the laboratory. The Zephyrians had conquered dozens of species across the galaxy, but they had never encountered anything like what stood before them now. Danny moved first. Not toward the aliens, but to the side, using the laboratory equipment as cover. The other enhanced soldiers scattered in different directions, moving with perfect coordination despite having no time to plan. The lead Zephyrian raised its weapon, but Danny was already behind it. His knife went between the armor plates with surgical precision, finding the creature's vital organs. The alien died without making a sound. The other Zephyrians fired their weapons, but the enhanced humans moved, like shadows. Their ancient instincts guided them to strike from unexpected angles, using the enemy's own movements against them. Alpha 1 grabbed a Zephyrian by the head and twisted sharply. The alien's neck broke with a wet crack. Another enhanced soldier used his bare hands to tear through armor that normal human weapons couldn't penetrate. The battle lasted less than 30 seconds. 6 Zephyrian soldiers lay dead, and the enhanced humans hadn't taken a single casualty. Impossible, came a voice over the alien's communication system. Ground team, report status. Danny picked up one of the alien communicators and spoke into it. He didn't know the Zephyrian language, but somehow his enhanced mind understood their speech patterns. Your soldiers are dead, he said in perfect Zephyrian. We are coming for the rest of you. Silence came from the communicator, then frantic, alien voices speaking rapidly. Colonel White emerged from cover, staring at the dead aliens. How did you understand their language? Enhanced pattern recognition, Alpha 1 explained. Our minds can decode any communication system by analyzing speech patterns and vocal inflections. Danny was already moving toward the exit. "Colonel, contact General Stone. Tell her the enhancement worked better than expected. We're ready to take the fight to them." "Danny, there are thousands of them up there. You're only 51 soldiers." Danny smiled, and the expression was more frightening than reassuring. "We're not soldiers anymore, Colonel. We're apex predators. And they just walked into our hunting ground." The enhanced humans moved toward the surface in perfect formation, their ancient instincts fully awakened. Above them, the Zephyrian force waited, confident in their technological superiority. They had no idea what was coming for them. Amy watched them go, feeling both hope and terror. Humanity might survive, but she wondered if what survived would still be human. Outside, the real battle was about to begin. Admiral Jack Morrison stood on the bridge of the Phoenix Rising and couldn't believe what he was seeing. The tactical display showed something impossible. Human ships were winning. "Sir, the enhanced Marines have taken 3 Zephyrian destroyers," reported Lieutenant Karen Davis, her voice filled with amazement. "They're using nothing but basic weapons and hand-to-hand combat." Jack watched the main screen as Captain Steve Miller led his enhanced squad through the corridors of an alien battleship. The humans moved like ghosts, appearing behind Zephyrian soldiers and killing them before the aliens could react. Their movements were so fast and coordinated that the alien security cameras couldn't track them properly. "How are they doing this?" Jack muttered. On the screen, Steve grabbed a Zephyrian warrior twice his size and threw it into a wall hard enough to crack the alien's armor. Another enhanced human, pilot Karen Adams, had somehow managed to fly her basic fighter through the defensive shields of a Zephyrian cruiser. She was attacking from inside their formation, using tactics so primitive they confused the alien computer systems. "Admiral, incoming transmission from Earth Command," Karen announced. General Stone appeared, on screen. Behind her, the Earth Defense Command Center was buzzing with activity, but for the first time in weeks, the staff looked hopeful instead of terrified. "Jack, the enhanced humans are working beyond our wildest expectations," Katie said. "They're not just fighting the Zephyrians, they're hunting them." "What's the current status?" Jack asked. "The enhancement process has been applied to 5,000 volunteers across all our remaining forces. The results are incredible. Our ground forces on Mars have driven off the occupation army. The enhanced soldiers are using guerrilla tactics that the aliens can't counter." Jack watched as another report came in. Commander Ryan Foster and his enhanced team had infiltrated the main Zephyrian command ship orbiting Jupiter. They were moving through the vessel like predators, stalking prey, taking out communication systems and navigation controls. "General, I need to ask you something," Jack said quietly. "Are we sure these enhanced humans are still on our side?" Katie's expression grew serious. "What do you mean?" "I mean, look at them. They're not fighting like soldiers anymore. They're hunting like animals. What happens when they run out of aliens to kill?" On the tactical display, Jack could see enhanced Squad Alpha moving through a Zephyrian research station. They weren't just killing the alien soldiers. They were hunting down every living creature on the station, including the non-combatant scientists. "Admiral Morrison," came a new voice over the communication system. It was Danny Clark, speaking from the surface of Mars. "We need to talk." Danny's image appeared on a secondary screen. He looked human, but something in his eyes made Jack's skin crawl. They were the eyes of a predator that had tasted blood and wanted more. "Sergeant Clark, report your status," Jack said. "The Martian colonies are secure. All Zephyrian forces have been eliminated." Danny paused, and Jack could see him sniffing the air like an animal. "Admiral, we've learned something important about our enemy." "What's that?" "They're afraid of us now. For the first time in their expansion across the galaxy, the Zephyrians have encountered something that hunts them instead of running from them." Jack watched as more reports came in from across the solar system. The enhanced humans were winning every engagement, but their methods were becoming increasingly brutal. They weren't taking prisoners. They weren't showing mercy. They were exterminating the aliens with the same cold efficiency the Zephyrians had used on other species. "Admiral," came another voice. It was Alpha 1, the ancient enhanced soldier from Antarctica. "The Zephyrian Emperor has requested communication with you." Put him through. The main screen flickered and showed a tall insect-like creature sitting on what looked like a throne made of crystal. This was the being that had ordered the extermination of dozens of intelligent species across the galaxy. "Human Admiral," the Emperor said in heavily accented English. "I wish to discuss terms of surrender." Jack almost laughed. "You want to surrender? After trying to wipe out our entire species? Your enhanced warriors have made continued conflict impossible. They fight without fear, without mercy, and without the technological dependencies that allowed us to defeat other species. We cannot adapt our weapons to counter organic hunting instincts. And what exactly are you offering? Complete withdrawal from human space. We will leave your species alone and never return." Jack looked at the tactical display. Human forces were systematically hunting down every Zephyrian ship and outpost in the solar system. The enhanced humans weren't just winning the war, they were enjoying it. "I'm afraid it's too late for that," Jack said. "You see, you made one crucial mistake. You awakened something in humanity that had been sleeping for thousands of years. Now that it's awake, I don't think it's going to go back to sleep." The Emperor's alien features showed what might have been fear. "What do you mean?" Danny Clark's voice came over the communication system again. "He means that we're not going to stop with just defending Earth. You came to our home and tried to kill our families. Now we're coming to yours." "Admiral Morrison," the Emperor said desperately, "you must control your enhanced soldiers. They are not just warriors. They have become apex predators. If you let them loose in the galaxy, they will not stop until every non-human species is extinct." Jack felt a chill as he realized the Emperor was probably right. The enhanced humans had saved humanity, but they had also become something terrifying. They were perfect hunters with no natural predators and an instinct to eliminate anything they perceived as a threat. "Admiral," came Alpha One's voice again. "We have located the Zephyrian homeworld. Request permission to begin the hunt." Jack looked at General Stone's image on the secondary screen. She looked as worried as he felt. "Danny, Alpha One, all enhanced units," Jack said carefully. "Stand down and await further orders." "Negative, Admiral," Danny replied. "The pack has decided. The threat must be eliminated completely." Jack realized with growing horror that the enhanced humans were no longer taking orders from normal human command. They had become something beyond military discipline, beyond human control. "Admiral Morrison," the Zephyrian Emperor said quietly, "you have saved your species, but you may have doomed the galaxy." Jack cut the transmission and looked around his bridge. His normal human crew stared back at him with fear in their eyes. Outside, the enhanced humans continued their hunt, moving through space like wolves following a scent trail. Humanity had survived. They had beaten the unbeatable enemy and saved their species from extinction. But in awakening their ancient nature, they had become something the galaxy had never seen before. A species of hunters with technology, intelligence, and an instinct to protect their pack by eliminating all threats. The Zephyrian Empire was finished. But as Jack watched his enhanced soldiers prepare for their next hunt, he wondered what would happen to the galaxy when humanity no longer had enemies to fight. The ancient fighters had risen again. Now everyone else would have to live with the consequences.